Welcome to Beijing, where Edward Hart starts on pole for Trackhouse Racing from Zakhar Hedenko and Thomas Holt. Gabriel Barton is fourth from Magic and Ben Allen Lee on his ERL return. Nick Haymaker is seventh from Spiker and Takayoshi Nishimoto. Then it's Cosmos Vasilis, Drago, Vastian Tan, Moises Lima and Casanova Cornwell. Sri Hashwar down at 15th from Scanlon Rotak in the start. Then it's Claire de Lune, Juan Villalobos, teammate Nora, and back four of Chaos Andalay, Leandro Zaccoli, Tommy, and Million Brulez. Well, the preseason tests show that the men on the front row are going to run away with it. Will it happen? FG Series gets back underway now, and it's a reasonable start off the line from Scotland's Edward Hart as they barrel down into turn number one. Ukraine's Zakhar Hedenko with the inside line coming through the long opening corner, and he's going to make the most of that. Hedenko, not just with the first overtake of the new season, but now with the race lead coming out of turn number two. And for Kondo Racing, that's brilliant news. Gabriel Barton, the number 15, going alongside with Hart down into turn 5, taking the position away from the pole sitter. 2311's Ben Allen Lee in the number 14 car, looking for a pass as into the wall for Juan Villalobos. The man now in his sophomore season in the Electric Racing League, finding himself with front wing damage. That is certainly unfortunate for him. Out in front though, it is a rookie taking the race lead. Kondo Racing in their first ever ERL race, they lead. They were planning on a start in the Formula Nippon Series, which was unceremoniously cancelled. As you can see, Casanova Cornwell in the number 5 car, down in 16th, brother of reigning FG Series champion Ash, now known as Chris Cornwell. Nick Haymaker getting a track limits warning further back. You're going to want to keep an eye on track limits further down the order. Million Brulez getting a 5-second time penalty for causing collision, but out in front, Zakhar Hedenko in the number 23 leads the pack. Gabriel Barton and Eddie Hart. We knew that Kondo Racing had speed, same for Red Bull and Trackhouse Racing, and we are seeing that right now as we are on board with Edward Hart. He's got a good run on Lebarton at the very least, keeping in touch. We go on board with Magic, who won the Ace Championship racing back in Season 1. Thomas Holt in the 21. Holding on in that Team Import car, that team known for going black and gold. You can see further up, now got the two 2311 cars running 4th and 5th. That's good news for the American team. But now the race seemingly beginning to calm down. Look at this from Chaos Anderlet though, the German driver getting past Casanova. And for Cornwell, this is not how his first race was meant to go, at least we don't think. Ben Allen Lee, he's got experience with these ERL F1s, but he hasn't raced these in quite some time, racing against Edward Hart, and both of them getting time penalties as Hedenko sets a new fastest lap. Coming through one, hopefully they can keep it cleaner than they already have. Further back, envisions as Leandro Zaccoli. Have to get used to that name. He's got a 5-second time penalty as Casanova going backwards on those hard tyres. He's down to 23rd. Second last. He's not last because Juan Villalobos is still struggling with that front wing. We missed Ben Allen Lee, by the way, moving up to 3rd position for the new look 2311 team, and they might as well be walking on air. Jordans heading down into the second of the 2 snail corners that really bookend this track. It's just a beautiful location here in Beijing to return to, heading down the long back straight. Attack mode in operation, rear wing opening up, gives you a little bit of strict line speed, something that Lebarton wishes he had. But Gabriel's not going to get it. Edward Hart off the track. Is that? It is. Ben Allen Lee has hit the wall, or more likely, Edward Hart himself who now comes into the pits and will have to serve a 10-second time penalty. Alan Lee himself comes down into pit lane, one of the drivers who joined us in the first ever ERL Formula E Series. But now we'll have to serve that time penalty. His teammate, Spiker, in the number 13 car, will take over the race lead from the two Chip Ganassis of Nick Haymaker and Magic Haymaker in his sophomore season. We go on board with the 8. It does look as if he could show some pretty good pace right now. Two drivers started this race on hard compound tyres, those of course being Tommy and Casanova Cornwell. It's only now that we're seeing blistering at 47%. These things are going to last for seemingly forever. Likely 6 laps, maybe 5. Don't expect to see 7 out of the Hankook hard compound tyres. The new Hankook's actually quite a bit harder than they were last season. As there goes the number 23 with quite the lunge on Tommy to take 13th place in that 23 car, Kondo Racing. You know, this is a spec series, but still he is showing the most pace of anyone. Takayoshi Nishimoto with the fastest second sector of anybody in 18th, as we do have some dark skies here in China. We do see those quite often. Haymaker has come down into pit lane, but is that the smartest move? As Villalobos further back with a track limits warning. What's going on for him? Soft compound tyres for Nick Haymaker, but he has to let Bastien Tan, who's on his return to glory, it seems, for Kondo Racing in the 24. What tyres are going on for him? That is the white-walled hard compound. Good news if you are a Bastien Tan fan. And you know, this man, he's had a career in the ERL already. Multiple wins when he was driving for the McLaren TGR team alongside Oscar Folstad. Helped McLaren to a Constructors' Championship in Season 18 and then walked off into the sunset. So now in the FG Series, to try and rebuild his career. I mean, his teammates shown brilliant pace in that Kondo car already. We're likely to see the same from a man with far more experience as he's on the back of Edward Hart. Out of all the drivers who have come into the pits, by the way, it's this man, Gabriel Labarton, who leads. Hidenko, he's in 5th. That's a net second position, as there goes Labarton. Absolutely breezing past Rossack, who's got a rear puncture. Rear puncture for the number 22. And for the man on he's also on his return to the ERL. Quite suboptimal, heavily suboptimal. And Magic's got the same thing. Bastien Tan getting a time penalty for causing a collision. And it's all kicking off down at that hairpin. It's the penultimate corner of the track. So of course we're going to see action down there, but we expected to see it quite a bit later on in the race in lap 5. We're now on lap 6 of 14 as Edward Hart with another 5-second time penalty. And is that Spiker going past him? It is. The Scotsman going backwards on his older hard compound tyres. Maybe he needs to regroup or something, because now Thomas Holt's going alongside him too, and he's got Sri Harishwab alongside as well. Side by side they go. And that is truly unfortunate for the Scotsman to now drop down to 13th position. Casanova Cornwell, by the way, knew he was a big name coming into this race, still down in 22nd. We've been lucky to not have a single retirement so far today. Draco getting a 5-second time penalty, almost trying to change that statistic. So we go on board with the man in the number 3 car. These guys getting really racy now, going down the back stretch. Using the tandem of attack mode and attack charge. Is that going to be enough to get the pass to move up into 10th place? He's not going for the lunge. That's a smart thing to do. Oh! Sri Harishwar facing backwards with front wing damage. And oh! That is Million Brules off the road in the number 12 Revolution Racing car. Rejoins alongside Leonardo Giacaholi. And now at half race distance, That has ruined their race. Absolutely ruined it on a scale previously thought unimaginable. Envision Racing. Where has their pace gone? Last season they ended it quite well, did Team Envision, but now no pace at all. Cosmas Mercedes, this is what we've seen from him in Formula E. This is what we expected to see from the Greek driver, running up in second, but he's 2 seconds off. Who else but Zakhar Hedenko? Sri Harshwar still struggling with that front wing, but luckily he's basically on an island to himself, and we've got yellows down in the second sector. But the green flags came out almost instantly. Who could that be for then? Wonder if we can actually take a look, because our cameras are having an absolute seizure. Well, there's no real way about it. As now Hedenko going on to start lap number 8 of 14. Into the pits comes Nick Haymaker and Cosmas Mercedes. Hopefully our cameras do improve slightly. They have now, so we can watch Haymaker's pit stop in relative peace. It's mediums going on for the Chip Ganassi Racing driver. Still don't quite know who caused those yellow flags down in the second sector, but as Harshwar comes in with Zakhar Holy and Villalobos and Million Brulez, doesn't seem like it's too much of an issue. On board with Leandro Zakhar Holy, still struggling with his name, I'm very sorry. You've probably noticed that every time I've said it so far in this telecast. He's the first Albanian driver in the ERL, and likely just needs to get to grips as a rookie in the Electric Racing League. 6 laps to go from Beijing, and Zakhar Hedenko on debut, ready to take a race win for Kondo Racing. His teammate Bastian Tan up in 3rd position with Gabriel Labarton right behind him. Make that right alongside, and now past him, the Filipino driver getting past his countryman. Labarton up to 3rd. Looks like Hedenko coming down to pit lane, as Nora further back getting a time penalty for causing a collision. Doesn't seem like it's been too much of an issue, but we can see a lot of drivers kicking up quite a lot of dust coming through that hairpin. A very dusty corner it seems today. These for many drivers their second stops, and considering the harder tyre configuration could be their last stops. It's very good to see 2 stops in the ERL are likely what we prefer to see than the 3-4 stop races we saw when the tyres were just way too soft. Tommy in the 11 car coming out of pit lane for Revolution Racing. That man right in front of him, Edward Hart, now down in 22nd position. And for the rookie, he's almost certainly expected a much better first race than this. But there are still 11 more races after this in what is the longest ERL FG Series season of all time. And considering the races we've got after this could wind up being the best, as we're on board with Labarton closing up to the back of Spiker. But these soft tyres, they don't last. They currently have roughly the same amount of grip as a 3-lap old hard compound tyre. So, into the pits for Labarton, Spiker staying out for 2311 Racing. Bastian Tan comes in, Magic into the pits, Thomas Holtz dives down into pit lane. We've got a lot of drivers coming in. Looking back with Nick Haymaker as his rear wing opens up on the back of Takayoshi Nishimoto. And he just absolutely blasts past him up into 4th place for the Chip Ganassi driver. Certainly now showing all of his pace. Million Brulez with the fastest lap in 16th, now 15th position, as we see drivers coming out of pit lane. Passing over Cornwall for Goodhart Racing, and Goodhart Racing as a whole actually, just to divert this, certainly not showing the pace that they had last season. Maybe with the fact that they've now got 2 brand new drivers, they have to learn again how to rebuild a team like that. But they're going to have to learn fast to hold off this man, Zakhar Hedenko, who moves up into 2nd place. And I don't think we will see another rookie like him again. That is what I said about Casper Lebo in Season 1. I hate to be this early, to jump the gun like this. I think we might have just seen a similar driver hit the grid. With 3 laps to go, Hedenko leads from Cosmas Padisis and Takeyoshi Nishimoto. Magic with a 5-second time penalty. Brulez with a 5-second time penalty as he's forced off the track by Leandro in that number 1 Envision racing car. Still certainly firmly believing he's number 1. Edward Hart getting a time penalty as well in that Trackhouse number 20. You can see Moises Lima. Oh! That is unbelievable. Coming out of pit lane, Nick Haymaker absolutely getting clobbered by Hart and Lima. Thomas Holtz getting a 5-second time penalty further up for causing a collision. But what on earth happened coming out of pit lane between those 3? Haymaker out of pit lane, just hit by Moises Lima, and to a lesser extent, Edward Hart and Million Brulez. Those 3 all with 5-second time penalties. But you know, these drivers are rookies, so it is partially what you expect to see incidents like that. It's just a wonder that none of those drivers crashed out in that incident. Into the pits for Zakhar Hedenko. Cosmas Padisis following it into pit lane as we've got a caution. It's for Nora, who's hit the wall and is out. Our first caution of the race, and that almost certainly gifts this race away to the number 23 Kondo. Gabriel Barton heads down the main straight. On lap 12, he'll come out in front of Zakhar Hedenko, but only barely. Star further back getting a 5-second time penalty. Where is Star? Because I can't find him. He's 18th, so he's running to the back of Eddie Hart. And we're back under the green flags here. Looks like Hart coming into the pits as well. We're down to 23, as there goes Zakhar Hedenko. Soldier is going to be an easy pass coming out of pit lane. Using attack charge as well. That just made it so much easier. Hedenko now leading on lap 12 of 14. On board we go with Cosmas Padisis, who flies around the outside of Gabriela Barton, who surely needed to come into the pits during that caution period. Spiker, we go on board with a number 13. He didn't come in on that last lap, but he came in the lap prior. Has the lunge, can he hold on? Keeps it out of the wall just about. They stay side by side, coming through the long corner. And still, Lebarton barely holding his nose in front. But by the time they get up to speed, 23.11 now have a car running up in 3rd. We go on board with Lebarton. It's now he's got attack mode, and he makes the most of it. Makes the lunge, and the 15 car moves up into 3rd. With barely any time left in this race, can Spiker hold it around the outside coming through the final corner? He can't. Or can he? Coming to the line, and he's up to 3rd to start this penultimate lap. Spiker running an absolutely amazing offense over Gabriela Barton and coming through the final sector. That was magnificent, absolutely beautiful to watch. On board we go with Drago on this penultimate lap. Power Motorsport running 2nd and 7th. A pretty good race so far, but if you take a look at that steering wheel, it says 11%, and it's flashing. That's the tire percentage. That's how much time left you have to run on that tire. And you can tell he's overstayed his welcome. Cosmas Padisis is out. And it's a power unit failure for the Greek driver. And has one of the Power Motorsport men face impending doom. The other one has had it thrust upon him. Full course cautions out on lap 13 in what has so far been quite the clean race, in fact. We're about to go green again with Zakhar Hidenko leading the way, 8 seconds in front of Spiker. We are green here in Beijing. And another caution, it's Moises Lima, and his power unit has gone too. Another full course yellow immediately after the last one. I understand one. I don't understand two in the same lap. And as the full course cautions end, look who's just hit 0. Drago now with a full car puncture. Ben Allen Lee has hit 2% as we are green again to begin this final lap here in Beijing, China. And that's Ben Allen Lee himself going side by side through the hairpin, struggling for grip. And there goes the rear. If you're taking a look very closely, the 14's rear tyre has just gone. Heading down the main straight, a miscalculation on the strategy for the number 14 and for the 3 as they head down that main straight at some of the slowest speeds we've seen all season long. As whoa! What is happening down in the main straight? Oh! Caution comes out! Oh! Chaos and let's Scuttle and Rossak, Zakhar, Leandro Zedenko, or whatever his last name is, again, forgot. Takayoshi Nishimoto, Edward Hart. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of drivers out in just one incident on this final lap. And that is completely unbelievable. What a way to return to FG Series action. Cautions come out again. It's just yellows this time for Casanova Cornwell. Sri Harishwar is the man facing backwards. We've got yellows in the first and second sectors. But for Zakhar Hidenko, Ukraine have another race winner. The 23 comes to the line. Zakhar Hidenko wins round 1 as Eddie Hart spins. Ben Allen Lee has been collected by his countrymen. Spiker is going to come home with a magnificent second place. Career best finish. Gabriel Abarton is going to be third, picking up where he left off. And my goodness, these teams just did not account for everything, it seems. Star getting past Claire de Lune on before it's too late. And my oh my, that is not how you end a race. The harder compound of tyre seemed to have been working, seems to have been giving us that better racing and less of a puncture risk that we've been looking for, but unfortunately some of the teams still cut it too close. My oh my, we had 4 drivers retire on that last lap on the main straight as well. Just taking a look at who was involved there. It was Envision Racing's Leandro Zakaholi, Scadlin Rotak, Takayoshi Nishimoto, and Chaos Andalet. So that probably explains why there was so much chaos. The guy named Chaos was involved. Certainly has been quite the chaotic race here in Beijing, China, but there's been one man who has weathered the storm. Kondo Racing in their first start in the ERL, taking their very first race win with Zakhar Hidenko, becoming the second Ukrainian driver not just to start a race, but to win one as well. Congratulations to everyone down at Kondo Racing. Spiker for 2311, brilliant stuff from that team as well to get his second place, and Mexican driver on the podium for the first time in quite some time. And Gabriel Labartin with the exact same finishing position that he had last time out in Season 2 in the Manila eTrophy. Third place for the Filipino driver. As for the rest of your finishers, Nick Haymaker, 4th from Thomas Olsen, Vasky and Tan, 1 Villalobos, 7 from Claire de Lune and Magic Million Brules. The last of the point scorers with the fastest lap, that's 2 points scored instead of just the 1. Your non-scorers were Stark, Casanova Cornwell, Edward Hart, Sri Harishwar, then Alan Lee, Tommy and Drago, with the non-finishers being Leandro Sakaholi, Stedlin Rosak, Takayoshi Nishimoto, Chaos Andelet, Moises Lima, Cosmas Mercedes, and Nora. So the driver's standings the exact same as the finishing order today, so taking a look at the constructors heading into the second round of this FG Series season. Kondo Racing, 33 points. An almost perfect weekend if you ask me. Bastian Tan in 6th place finish. It's not perfect, but still very strong for a brand new team. 2311 Racing currently sat second from Red Bull and Chip Ganassi. Team Impel, they're 5th from Nano Motorsport and Junior Motorsports, with Revolution Racing being the last team to score points. That makes it cool. We've got 4 teams who haven't scored in that opening round. That's why it's a 12-race season instead of just the 1. Make sure to join us for our next race in the FG Series season, the London eTrophy, as well as the Champ Car and Formula E races coming up quite shortly. You've been watching Sparkplug Motorsports and our coverage of the ERL FG Series. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys next time when the Electric Racing League returns.